rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
Yeah. For real, and that's just how I feel. Make one move, get peeled, and that's just how I feel. Streets gon' eat you up. Let's just keep it real. Still, I'm outside for real, and that's just how I feel.
A shout out to our editors who put together awesome music videos each and every day.
I will say, though, as soon as that music started, I'm like, are we doing thank you notes?
Maybe that's something we should add to the show.
Then it kicked in.
The Gritty by Keanu Hill, by the way, right on beat. Fantastic work. What's Trending, presented by Bodyguards, protection for a life worth living. Learn more at bodyguards.com. How about this, BYU Sports Nation? I know you're not going to like this. The SP Plus numbers, rather, from Bill Connolly and ESPN are out. And if you watched the show yesterday, you heard us make reference to it. But let's bring it up again just to stir up the emotion, shall we?
Just to aggravate you further.
BYU, out of all 14 teams in next year's Big 12, ranked dead last in the SP Plus numbers. Number 62. And if you're wondering, well, what the heck is SP Plus? It's a combination of what you did last year, what you bring back in returning production, what they're projecting you to do this year based on who comes back and how they did it last year. BYU is 62nd. The next closest team is Kansas at number 57. It also takes into account recruiting, Jason, and recruiting history. Mind you, BYU was number 25 in this metric last year, so they are 37 spots lower. How much do you read into this drop and the SP Plus numbers overall, especially the fact that BYU was last out of the 14 Big 12 teams?
Yeah, like I certainly did not expect to see BYU end up where they did in terms of the other Big 12 teams. That was honestly quite surprising to me that they came in dead last in terms of the rankings. But I want to go to something that you just said, because you mentioned that last year BYU was 25th in this. Okay, would you say that BYU lived up to the 25th preseason SP Plus rankings?
8 and 5 would not qualify as number 25.
Yes, we got super excited. It would be, look, we couldn't come out here and say, because last year when this happened, we were touting the SP Plus. Look, BYU's 25, and we put so much stock in it. We now can't say, okay, well, they don't mean anything, because last year we put a lot of stock because it was pro BYU.
Yeah, here's the thing. BYU was number 1 in the country in returning production.
Correct.
25th overall in this metric. Number 1 in returning production.
And I honestly believe that's what's playing the most into this ranking. Now, I also believe BYU has added a lot of talent. I will be shocked if, when it all is said and done, BYU is dead last in the Big 12. I am not expecting that at all.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be a top 2 or top 3 team. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they can't do it. But I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I will be so surprised if at the end of the year they turn out to be dead last in the Big 12. I just don't expect that.
Let me quantify why this is not that big of a deal, okay? First of all, there are 130 plus college football teams now. It feels like there are a few more joining each year. In fact, BYU is going to take on a first-time FBS foe in Sam Houston State this year, who are making the jump from the lower division up. So that's not an FCS game, by the way. I know some BYU fans are like, why is BYU hosting 2 FCS teams? Sam Houston State is not an FCS team. They have made the jump up to Division I FBS football. BYU is 62nd out of 130 plus Division I FBS teams. That's still top half in the SP Plus projection. I know it's last in the Big 12, but it doesn't really matter that much because of what you just pointed out. BYU was number 25 last year and number 1 in returning production overall, and it was 8 and 5 because of, you picked the reason. I know a lot of you are going to lean toward, well, injuries and lack of depth because of those injuries. BYU did put together a 4-game win streak to close out the season, making everyone feel a little bit better, but the Cougars started a 4th-string quarterback in the bowl game, Jason. A 4th-string quarterback. Bull J. Mayava got it done in New Mexico. It's only happened once before with Tom Young. Steve Young's little brother, who started as the fourth-string guy against Kansas, of all teams, in the 1992 Aloha Bowl. It got that bad for BYU. So, yeah, injuries in play. I'm telling you all this because rewind to 2020 to 2021 in that transition. Zach Wilson, gone, number 2 overall pick. And Dax Milne, his number 1 receiver, gone. Brady Christensen, the core of that offensive line, gone, 3rd-round pick. BYU had 5 draft picks after that unbelievable 2020 COVID-based season. And they weren't bringing back much production. Their numbers were super low in this projection. We were all like, oh, man, what the heck is BYU going to get? Well, what'd they do, Jason? They brought back Tyler Algier.
Yeah.
And he set the single-season rushing record, and Jaron Hall was introduced, and BYU goes undefeated against the Pac-12. They go 10-3, and they're a top 15 team for much of the season. So, again, I don't know how much I buy into the SP Plus projection just because BYU has been so wildly inconsistent. In fact, it feels like over the past few seasons they've gone exactly the opposite.
Yes, the opposite of what this statistic, when it comes out, look, and look, everybody these days, it's all about the analytics, and so I get why this stuff is out there. And again, it does us no good to completely dismiss it because it comes from somewhere.
Sure.
But exactly what you said, for whatever reason, it has not been very accurate in determining what was going to happen for BYU, both positively and negatively. And look, honestly, for me, I know how I would answer this. What's the indicator that you look at most in trying to determine ultimate success for an upcoming season? What do you look at?
It starts at the quarterback position typically, but you need like at least one superstar skill position player, and you probably need the core of an offensive line. Those are the 2 things that I'm looking at to help me determine if I believe my team, or in BYU's case, the BYU football team, will be good, they'll be mediocre, or maybe they'll be below average. So it starts with a star skill position player, and then do you have an offensive line? Can you win on offense in the trenches? And BYU has been really solid in those scenarios for the past 3 years. Think about it. Okay, in 2020, they brought back Zach Wilson and Dax Milne, and Tyler Algier was starting to burst onto the scene. The weekend schedule helped a little bit with that and kind of pushing BYU back into the national limelight. But then in 2021, even though they lost those 5 draft picks, you bring back Algier. Jaron Hall we felt pretty good about, but then BYU has Puka Nacua start to take on a larger role. So there were multiple star skill position players. Even this year with Hall and Nacua leading the charge, really pretty solid on offense when they were healthy. How many games were they like completely healthy though, Jason?
Very rarely. Maybe game 1?
I know, I hate it. I hate it because you wonder like, well, what if? What if that's the case? I think for me it starts with you got to have some just gamers like at the skill positions, and then you have a good offensive line.
See, I think my answer is probably more big picture than that specific. I do look at returning production, and the only reason that I look at returning production is because I think it helps you get a baseline. It's not the end-all be-all in determining success, as we've seen, and last year was a perfect example of that.
Okay.
BYU #1 in the country in returning production. It did not equate to a double-digit win season.
No.
It didn't. We thought it was certainly capable of doing that, and we put a lot of stock in that, but it didn't. So I think looking at what the people that are returning did last year helps get a baseline.
Okay.
Then from there on, you can start kind of maybe diving into it a little bit more. But I think looking at what's coming back, the production they had last year, talent standpoint, I think that's a pretty good early on evaluator on what to expect.
Sure.
But again, with what BYU has coming back, it's certainly not the 80% that we had last year to talk about. But there's still a ton of talent on this team. And I understand that you lost some really key offensive linemen to the transfer portal. You obviously have had your starting quarterback move on. But BYU has brought in a quarterback that we all certainly believe and hope can pick up right where Zach Wilson and Jaron Hall left off and find himself in the NFL draft in another season. So I think that, for me, that's kind of the indicator as where you start with a baseline. But again, I will rehash what I said before. And I think what you said is something people need to keep in the back of their mind. 62, we're not talking about 62 out of 70.
No.
We're talking about close to, 130, whatever it is.
132 right now?
132. So you're talking about the upper half of college football. This is just for the Big 12. And again, I will say it again. I do not expect BYU to be dead last in the Big 12 this year. I do not.
Okay, I'm going to give you some specific numbers here. Okay, so we mentioned the number 25. BYU was 25th in the SP Plus going into last season. Okay, and then I said, well, what did they have the year before? They were low 30s when Bill Connolly released them in February of 2021, and they were adjusted to number 31 going into the 2021 season. Going into the 2020 season, BYU was 53rd. So do you feel like...
So fairly comparable to what we're seeing right now.
Yeah. Do you feel like this metric matters based on the results of the past few years? I'll let you decide that. For me, it's how many stars do you bring back in skill positions, and do you have the core of your offensive line?
And let's be honest, this is content for the beginning of February. You haven't had spring ball. You haven't had another transfer portal window, which we all expect to be as crazy, if not crazier than before. And I'm not talking just from a BYU standpoint. I'm talking college football wide. So it does you no good to start making predictions about a team that may not even look like what it's looking like now in 5 months.
You want to know what the real Y factor is, and if I feel like my team is going to be pretty good or not? The continuity of the coaching staff. And on the offensive side of the ball, I expect BYU's offense to be humming again. Even with the transfer quarterback, I feel like Keaton Slovis and Aaron Roderick have already formed a really, really good bond. And I got to go off of conversations that I've had with guys in the football coaching offices. Yeah. And they feel like Keaton and Aaron are on the exact same page, and he is doing his best to get involved in that playbook. And that's a challenge for him. That's the huge challenge for Slovis, is how quickly can you get acclimated with that playbook, which has become more expansive over the past few years under A-Rod, and then can you execute everything that he wants to do? They feel like they're in a good position right now in mid-February. And so that is a challenge. But on the flip side, wholesale changes on the defensive staff, right? That's the big question mark. Is like, we all love Jay Hill. We expect him to come in and do things, but how much time? You got to give him some time, I think. Give him a few years before we really start to see like that defense make significant improvement. So that to me is the huge question mark. So maybe 62 is totally fair, Jason, because I think the offense is going to be okay and they should be humming. I have no idea about the defense right now. I feel like I have an idea of some of the players, but what the heck is Jay Hill going to do with those players, and who's actually going to see the field, because his eyes are totally different than Elisa Tuiaki, and they have totally different opinions on who fits their specific scheme. So I'm fascinated by this season. I mean,
there's so many things to look forward to for this year in terms of going into the Big 12, but also what is the defense going to look like? How is it going to be different? You know, are we going to what scheme changes will we notice, and how effective will they be? It's what makes this upcoming season one of the most anticipated seasons we've ever had.
62 feels fair. I expect BYU to be a top 50 college football team overall by the end of the season. Top 50, okay? And that's not SP+. I'm just saying, like, I think they'll be a top 50 team in the country by the end of this upcoming season.
I don't see why that's not possible.
Our question